with me, 2006 was always my realistic. That's the year I can peak. That's the year I can be number one. I went from being a nobody to the beginning of that quad to 4 years later, the Olympic year, being number one in the world for the first time. And to have that, everything, all that hard work come together like you envisioned it, like you planned. Like every day when you're working hard, you think, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna keep learning. And by the time 2006 comes around, I'm gonna be the best. And there I was the best in the world. I'd already earned my spot on the Olympic team, the 2006 Olympic team. I was really excited. That's when I got the phone call that said I had a positive doping test, which was the last thing I ever in a million years. I actually thought I was getting punked. I thought I was looking for MTV or something like that when I was at Lafayette, of all places. The system shouldn't let this happen to an athlete. The system's here to promote fair play. I thought, there's no way I can't get through this. And we went and pleaded our case. And I was very lucky they saw it for what it was. They agreed. The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency saw it as an honest mistake, and they gave me a warning and said, you're on the Olympic team. So flew back to Europe, was on the Olympic team, was in Torino, and just a few days before the opening ceremonies, the World Anti-Doping Agency appealed the decision and said that they felt like I should pay a harsher sentence. And so I had to go to court the day before opening ceremonies in Torino, and they agreed. You're an honest athlete, you're not a cheat, but unfortunately, they felt like their hands were tied by a broken system and punished me anyway. They said, you're not a cheat, but we're gonna punish you for a year anyway. I was given the word the next day, right before opening ceremonies, they came down with their decision, and I was given 1 hour to be out of the Olympic Village. Literally had to get out of the village in an hour. Saw my credential cut up in front of me. Went from being number one in the world, a medal favorite, to being on the street, literally. And that was very devastating, if you can imagine. I mean, it was the first time in my life I felt depression. First time I ever felt like, wow, I really didn't want to do much of anything for a while after the games. I didn't really watch the Olympics that year. But then I decided, you know what, I'm not going to let this defeat me. And I was really wanting to come out and show everyone that I was more than this, and I wasn't going to let this defeat me. And I came out the next year and was able to win the overall World Cup title and won 4 of the 8 World Cups, including the one in Torino, which I set the world record. No one had ever gone faster. So that felt good. At the same time, it was the Olympics. It was my chances to prove I could have been the gold medalist, but it wasn't the Olympics. So 2 years later, they took Propecia, which was finasteride, off the ban list, saying, yeah, it doesn't do anything, which it was the exact science I brought in my case. A lot of people said, well, you should be happy. This is vindicating. This, it proves you're innocent. I said, well, I already knew I was innocent. My family and friends knew I wasn't a cheat. Everyone knew I wasn't a cheater. This is more of a punch in the gut for me, because it proves that I lost my entire dream over nothing, which that's tough to accept. To know that you worked that hard in your whole life, and then you were there. It was everything you'd worked for was right at the tip of your fingers, and it was taken away for nothing.
I think the most important thing that we saw with him was the potential. The physical training here is important, but the more important aspect for Zach especially is to get his head right. Just really trying there, and you just track straight down over that toe.
And I've struggled ever since then a little bit. And I'm trying to get it back, and it's not something you can just say, okay, have fun again, enjoy this. It was really hard.
I also saw Zach's genuine desire to change.
And this last year, I finally was able to say, okay, I need to let go of this. I need to not be the victim. I need to be a champion. And what happened, happened. It's part of my journey. It's part of my past. It's part of it makes me who I am. But I'm not going to let it keep me down. I want to be on top. So I've kept going, and this year I just want to get to the games and just have a chance to compete.